universe moment, your life is forever changed if you but take the time to understand one thing: secure compound interest. I will teach you how it works. Something you thought was going to produce you wealth and freedom just to arrive to retirement frustrated and confused. And with this knowledge, you, no matter the position in your life, can achieve millions of dollars in wealth. When you embrace the true science of compound interest, the results will be like nothing you've ever seen before, including unlimited wealth potential, eliminated risk from your money, accelerated returns through leverage, and increased retirement income at any age. Retirement takes 30 to 50 years in the traditional system, but through secure compound interest, we can do it in half that time. I'm going to show you all of this right now so you can make the decision. I'm Curtis Ray, and this is the lost science of compound interest. compounders. That's my favorite chapter, chapter 8. And ultimately, this is my goal. People ask me all the time, why do I work so hard and why do I work so much? And because I have a mission, I have a passion, and that is to bring value to every single human being that I come in contact with. And I want that every single person become rich. If you can become compounding, if you can make compounding a priority in your life, you will find yourself wealthy. So we're going to do a little poll right now. This poll I'm going to ask you guys real quick is, here it is. I want you guys to read this book in less than 1 week. If you can commit right now to sit down, grab the book, read it the second we're done off this webinar or over the next 7 days, it will drastically change your life more than anything you've ever learned in your whole life. So the poll is, will you read this book in the next week? I'm going to give 15 seconds on it, and we'll see what you guys say. Yes or no? Are you willing to read this book in the next week? Definitely, definitely. Oh, I like them. They're coming in. Not this week, but I will ASAP. Hey, ASP this week. I found something in my life that if you don't commit to doing something and you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, unfortunately, tomorrow never comes. It'll be 1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 years. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I should have read that book. But I'm seeing almost everyone saying yes. Next week is in the next 7 days. It's about a 4-hour read. So if you can take the time and spend a little energy of reading it at night, in the morning, whenever, find 4 hours to read it. And if you can do that, I promise you will not be disappointed. I've never had someone read it yet that said, wow, that was really underwhelming and wasted my time. So, okay, we're going to move on. Thank you guys for participating in that. Okay, so because of COVID-19, a lot of people have heard this word recently, exponential growth. It was a word that I wasn't fully familiar with, previous to 5-6 years ago, but this exponential growth thing is the ability for anything to go from A to infinite, or continually faster and faster and faster and faster. So what if you could apply exponential growth to your finances? Who here would like to apply exponential growth to the finances? Would you want your money on the black line or the gold line? Just for kicks here, I've got another little poll, and that will be, who would want their money on the gold line or the black line? So starting right now, let's launch that. 10 seconds on gold or black. If anyone says black, we're going to have to do a phone call. Oh, someone did just say black. Almost everyone's doing gold. I'm sure it was someone just trying to punk me, but it's the gold line. Everyone says the gold line. That's the best part about exponential growth, is that it's available to anyone. Anyone who wants it, we can go get it. We just got to know how to get it. So let me shut that. So how do we get exponential growth? This phenomenon called exponential growth is about how something compounds and doubles over and over and over. If you understand how compounding works and how exponential growth works, you have the option or the ability to achieve unlimited wealth potential in your life. Ask yourself that one question right now. Would you want unlimited wealth potential in your life? Would you want security in your life? How many people are freaking out right now? It is really sad to see all these small businesses and various people getting laid off right now and not knowing what to do. If you understood, or by understanding compounding and security in your life, next time this happens, or next time you lose your job, or next time there's another pandemic, you won't be in the position you feel right now, and the stress and the anxiety and the frustrations you're feeling right now. But in order to understand this and in order to achieve this, we're going to have to rework our brains. We're going to have to start thinking about money as a science and not as an emotion. Because the moment emotion overtakes science, we make really, really bad decisions for our future. It's almost always. And what do I mean by that? Compound interest is like a skyscraper. How many here understand how building works, or understanding how a foundation works, or building a house or anything else? What do you have to do before you can start building up? There's always something you have to do, and that is build out. There is this little thing with compound interest that most people struggle with, and that is you have to build out before you build up. You have to build a foundation. You have to lay the soil down, the concrete, the rebar. You've got to get everything prepared. The stronger the foundation, the faster you can build up. But if you don't build a foundation first, what happens to your building as the weight starts piling on? It falls. That's why the stock market and real estate and various other investments always fall, because they're not built on a secure foundation. But we got to understand something about this foundation. It takes time. It's not quick. It's not get rich quick. It is slow, steady, and secure wins this race. And so my goal today in the next 30 minutes is to motivate you and really touch your mind and your heart that this is a slow, steady, secure race. And if you can take the proper steps in building your out first, and right here takes about 5 to 8 years. It's not quick. In the first 5 to 8 years, we're just growing slowly. We're building our out, and then we're about to go up. And the moment we start going up, it goes up really, really fast. But few people are willing to embrace the time it takes to actually build a compound account. Not an investment account, but a compound account. Here is the compound science that a lot of people struggle. Has anyone ever heard this saying that a penny doubled for 30 days is $5.3 million? What that means is it's called a compound cycle. And a compound cycle is the natural energy and time it takes to double in size. So as you can see, 1 to 2, 250 to 500, 30,000 to 60,000, 256 million to 536 million. Or sorry, 268 million. Think about how crazy that is. The same amount of time and the same amount of energy was required to achieve all of these cycles. So from $1 to $2 is a $1 growth. Took 6 to 7 years. But 100,000 to 200,000 also took 6 to 7 years. 10 million to 20 million also took 6 to 7 years. So the higher you can start on this thing, or on this graph, the lower, if you can start with 4,000 instead of $1, or 200,000 instead of $1, or 16,000, or 1 million, or wherever you can get assets from and get them compounding, will produce the absolute best result the fastest. It can take A to infinite no matter who you are. It's just a matter of time. Unfortunately, $1 to $536 million takes about 180 years. We don't have 180 years, right? So how do we do this faster? Obviously, invest more than $1 and continually put money in. Pay yourself first. Get money compounding the compound. Get various compound accounts working for you simultaneously, and you can end up achieving this range of money. Anyone, no matter who you are, no matter the position in your life, no matter if you make $30,000 a year or $500,000 a year, if you can start embracing the science of compounding, you can end up achieving this type of wealth in your life, and then pass it on to your kids and your kids' kids and their kids. And ultimately, the decisions you make right now can create generational wealth. The decision to become a compounder or starting a compound account. Why is time so important? If you're not paying attention, please pay attention right now. This is one of the most important things that I teach, is how time is the most important asset you have on your side, but it is also the most destructive asset you have on your side if not used correctly. This is an example of someone who goes and invests $5,000 today, right now. No delay, I'm going to go start a compound account today and let it compound for 30 years by itself. Not another penny inside this compound account. It will achieve about $85,000 in growth, or $80,000 in compound interest off a $5,000 investment. $80,000 it made for you off of a one-time investment of $5,000. But what if you waited? What if you said, no, Curtis, I got to wait till next year because, I'm struggling, I'm scared, I don't want to go into my reserves, whatever, all the many reasons to wait. 29 years of compounding would only produce around $77,000. $8,000 of lost compound potential because you waited 1 year. What if you said, I'm going to wait till I get out of debt, or I'm going to wait till I pay off my house, or I'm going to wait. Everyone always says wait because they want to do various other things that are not compounding. If you waited 5 years, $30,000 of less compounding potential. If you waited 10 years, $50,000 of less compound potential. 15 years, $64,000 of less compound potential. All of these are the exact same investment, but given more time. Time you cannot get back. You can get back money, you can go get a really cool investment, but time is the most important factor when it comes into compound interest, and why starting immediately, as soon as possible, as secure as possible, is life-changing. Because what if you invested $5,000 today? In 30 years, it's worth about $85,000. If you invested $5,000 more next year, it is now worth $85,000 plus $77,000. They're individual compound cycles. Every time you put money in, they're individual. So you start adding all these up together and you end up with this really cool number. But what if instead of investing $5,000 today, you invested $10,000 today? Look at how much difference there is. $85,000 to $170,000. A $5,000 additional investment today produced an additional $85,000, double. You invested double, so it produced double in the same amount of time. What if you waited 15 years? No, Curtis, I got kids, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Everything's about, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. Look how much compound potential was lost because you waited 15 years. $130,000 of future wealth. And if you wait 6 more years, 7 more years, guess what? This is going to double to $340,000, and this is going to double to $86,000. And every time, more time that gets added, it keeps doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. And so when I made that poll earlier that, hey, read the book now or read it next week or a month from now or 2 months or 5 months, the decisions you make right now, if you can find 4 hours to read this book, I promise you, you will leave with more education about money and how the stock market works and how real estate works and how risk works than anything you've read ever in your whole life. But more importantly, you'll be able to apply these principles so you achieve the $170,000 and not the $43,000. Because both of them are the identical investment. One was just done today and one was done, I'll do it later. I'll do it later, I'll do it later, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. And why is that? Because, as Albert Einstein is credited for saying, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. It requires, it's not optional. And that's why I want to give you all this education, free of charge. I don't charge anything for my services. All this stuff is provided to you. He who understands it earns it. That's the only reason you don't already have millions of dollars in your account. The only reason you're not already financially secure, and the only reason you might be feeling stressed right now, or you don't know where your paycheck's going to come tomorrow, or you don't know if your business is going to survive, because the account, your life wasn't built inside of compounding, the security of the lost science of compounding. And so right now we're going to discover why the traditional methods struggle to compound, why everything you've ever been told about how you make money is not based in the science of compounding. It's based in growth and loss, growth and loss. So how do we get it? Why don't we get it is a better question. The compound counterfeit. I call the stock market and real estate and all the various other things that we invest our money in as the compound counterfeit. And why? Because it's built in a counterfeit compound equation. Y equals A, 1 plus or minus R to the X. What do you notice inside this equation? It has a negative sign. It is not Y equals A, 1 plus R to the X. It is Y equals A, 1 plus or minus R to the X, which is home runs and strikeouts, ups and downs, wins and losses. Always be rebounding. How many of you have a financial advisor or have heard a financial advisor say, don't worry about when the market crashes, it will always rebound? They say that all the time, right? Because they don't understand how compound interest works. They don't understand that time is the most important factor in this whole equation. It will inevitably underperform every single time. And this is what every or almost every mainstream finance promotes, the investment equation. This is an example of the stock market in the year 2000 to the year 2013. What do you notice about the value of it? It's identical. The S&P 500 had an identical value 12 years later. And why is that? Because it hit home runs and then it struck out. Then it hit home runs and then it struck out. Then it hit home runs. And how much time did you lose right here? 13 years. Remember when I said that $10,000 went from $170,000 to $43,000 because of 15 years of waiting? Well, risk and it will always rebound has the exact same identical result. When you're inside of something that loses, you lose time. And time is the most important factor in this equation. And why is that? Because the stock market was never designed to compound. It was designed to grow, and compounding is different than growing. How well has the stock market compounded in the last 90 years? This is something that kind of blew my mind when I finally understood and grasped how the stock market works. As you know, the financial world says, don't worry, it will always rebound. You can rebalance your portfolio. You can buy low and sell high, and all the great things they try to promote on why the stock market is the best place to put your money. But this is real life data. This is actually what's happened in the last 90 years. This is the Great Depression right here, and it crashed. And what happened after the crash? After it crashed, it rebounded. Then it crashed. Then it rebounded. Then it crashed. Then it rebounded. And 28 years later, you finally got back to your original value pre-Great Depression. How many compound cycles was that? 4. Over 4 compound cycles, because of it will always rebound. The risk inside the stock market. But guess what happened? You started making some money. So you felt really good. The home runs always make us forget about the strikeouts. We always forget easily when we start making money again. But little did you know you lost time. And then the crash happened. 1968, it started crashing again. 71, 72, 73 started crashing. And you lost all the way down to here. It hurt. It really hurt. But guess what? The 1980s were awesome. So we felt we were winning again. We always feel we're winning again. And then finally in 1994, we made our money back. 25 years of loss and rebounding. Then we made some money, and then .com in 2008 crushed it again, and we lost another 13 years. This is about to blow your mind. In the last 90 years of the stock market, 65 years, give or take, have been loss and rebounding to get your money back. There has roughly only been 25 years of real growth inside the stock market in the last 90 years, inflation adjusted. I have to say inflation adjusted because it's the buying power of your money, the actual value of your money. 65 years of it will always rebound, don't worry. Home run, strikeouts, emotional frustration and excitement, all the things that come along with those ground level investments and wanting to become rich really, really quickly. It was never built in compounding. Because if it was built in compounding, it should look like this. And never ever turn around and never look back. But it wasn't. How bad is this? Let's look at how bad. I turned 18 years old in the year 2000. So that is my adulthood. I use this example because that's actually when I could buy my first index fund and invest in my first real deals and stuff like that. Let's just say you had $100,000 in your account in the year 2000. In a risk-based compound system like the stock market, what does that look like over the next 13 years, all the way to 2012? 100,000, then .com crushed us. We started hitting home runs again, and we got our 100,000 back in 2007. We finally broke even, and we're feeling really good about it, and then 2008 crushed us. Then 2012, we got our money back. If you would have been in something slow, steady, and secure, a compound account built to not go backwards, a compound account built not to lose money in the stock market, that 100,000 would have had 200,000 by the year 2007, give or take, and up to 325,000 by year 2012. Seems like a $225,000 difference, right? You're like, holy crap, I just lost $225,000 being in something that felt more exciting, and then frustration, and then excitement and frustration. But guess what? That's not the whole story. This doesn't tell you what actually happens in compound interest. It's about the next cycle, protecting the gains. Let's play this out for the next 30 years, 35 years. What happens over the next 35 years? Let's assume both accounts are identical and they don't, the risk-based compounding never loses again. Let's just make that rare assumption that 2012 you had 100,000, you now become smart, you're like, okay, I'm not going to do it anymore, I'm never going to lose again, and we have 325. Guess what it looks like over the next 35 years? Compound cycle 1, 200,000. Compound cycle 2, 400, 800, 1.6, 3.2. In a secure-based compounding system, not even putting any more money into it, just letting it grow inside of something that is securely compounding. 325, 650, it doubled. That's its compound cycle. 1.3, 2.6, 5.2, 10.4. A $7.2 million difference because of a decision you made back in the year 2000. Over 47 years, it naturally, by itself, slow, steady, and secure, produced up to $7.2 million more than the risk-based investing of real estate and the stock market. How can that be possible? Because it's about the science of compound interest and understanding that time, security, and compound cycles is the most important thing you can do with your money. Because all this happened naturally. You didn't have to do anything. You just had to be patient. You just had to build out then up. And the moment you did that, guess what? Life really worked out well for you. Wealth is available to anyone who's willing to put money into compound cycles and then give it time to mature. But guess what just happened? Remember, see how this says 2019, we got to 200,000? We did get to 200,000 by 2019. But then Corona happened, and Corona crushed us. How many people on this call know that with inflation-adjusted value of money, your 2000 and 2020 account value or money value was identical? Because of this strikeout. And yeah, it is rebounding, and it's going to strike out again, it's going to rebound, it's going to strike out again. And how long is it going to take to get your money back? We don't know. It could be 1 month, it could be 1 year, it could be 5 years. But what just happened? You lost more time. The risk-based investing is unpredictable. You never know. Who could have called in February that we would be in the position we are in today where the government is mandating businesses to shut down, mandating things to happen that crush families? That is why the risk-based investment just cannot work as your financial plan. If you love to go invest, great, go do whatever you want with your money. It's your money. But if you want security and you want protection and you want freedom and you want confidence, understanding how security works is one of the most important things. Then on top of all that, I just showed you that, wow, it doesn't really even compound. It really doesn't even make you a lot of money, but even worse, it's not even designed to make you retirement income. How many people here know what the 4% rule is? If you don't know what the 4% rule is, I highly recommend you write that term down right now and research it the moment we get off this call. Because the reason my first book is called Everyone Ends Up Poor is because of this one rule of thumb that exists inside of financial planning. This rule of thumb is that you're real aggressive when you're younger, and then as you get older, you should taper off. You should go from stocks to more bonds, get some cash, get some real estate rentals, get some things that are a little bit more secure. And ultimately, you end up living about 4% of your net worth, or your nest egg. So let's just say you had $250,000 in your nest egg at 65 years old, and you think you did pretty well, right? That's $250,000. How many people have $250,000? Not very many. Even then, it only produces a retirement income of around $10,000. Add some Social Security to that, and you end up retiring around $25,000 to $27,000 a year. Let's just say you got $500,000 in your account. You taper off, you do all the things, you go into retirement thinking really good. I have $500,000 in my account. I did everything I was supposed to do. $20,000 plus Social Security. Oh yeah, and then you get taxed on it too. You get taxed on your 401k and your IRA. Lastly, you have the elusive $1 million portfolio. The $1 million portfolio, all the talking heads tell you to get. The millionaire next door, all the people, even though only 1% of people actually get there, but $1 million in your portfolio and it produces a retirement income of around $40,000 a year plus Social Security minus taxes. Is that the freedom you're looking for? Ask yourself that question right now. You invested for 30 or 40 years. You did everything right. You put money away. You invested in all the things you were told to do. And it ultimately produced you around $55,000 minus taxes of retirement income. Does that get you the freedom you want? It's a question to ask. Everyone ends up poor when you follow this risk-based system. But there is a way. Don't worry about it. I know I just did some doom and gloom right there, but there is a way for your best future. And when Albert Einstein called this the greatest mathematical discovery of all time, the most powerful force in the universe, the eighth wonder of the world, it is about right now, it is time right now that you learn what this is. Because the moment you embrace how compounding works, this is your future. It is your best future. It will always be your best future. Security, growth, and compounding, getting it running. We want this. We want the gold line. We want everything about it. But how do we get that? If you're willing to understand these 5 things, compound interest requires 5 commitments. Remember, A1, y equals A1 plus R to the X. There are 5 components, A1 plus R and X. How many people here know about science and how math works? What's amazing about science and math is they're objective. There are no variables besides what you see. And they react exactly the same every single time you do something inside of it. So if you have A and you can satisfy A, and you know what 1 is, and you can satisfy that, and plus, and R, and X, and you can satisfy all of them, guess what happens 100% of every single time? Exponential growth, compound interest. So what are the 5 things? A is your investment. That is pay yourself first. You guys probably heard me say this on my videos. Pay yourself first. It means a lot of the questions I got from you guys is how do I start a compound account? What if I don't make very much money? What if I'm young? What if? Pay yourself first. If you can pay yourself first, that means legitimately you get a $500 paycheck. You take $50 out of it. 10%, 5%, 20%. Whatever that number is. The human is quite fast. The human being is amazing. We always survive. We always find a way to make it happen. So if you're making $50,000 a year right now, and you think you're paycheck to paycheck, and you're like, Kurs, there's no way I can pay myself right now. I'm barely surviving. If you only made $45,000 this year, guess what happens? You survive. You live paycheck to paycheck, and your life barely even changes, if even changes at all. I'm here to motivate you that you can do this. You can pay yourself first. And if you were willing to pay yourself first right now in this moment and say, no, every single check I make, I'm going to get into compounding. Because remember, that $5,000 I just talked about makes you $85,000 in 30 years from now. And if you do it a second year, it makes you another $75,000, then another 70, then another 50, 60, all the different compound accounts added up. When you get to retirement in 30 years from now, or 20 years, or 40 years, there's $1 million in this account. Maybe 500,000, maybe 2 million. All because you made the decision to pay yourself first right now before anything else. And then you survive. You do everything you need to do just like you would have after you pay yourself first. That's why the 1 in the equation, A is pay yourself first. The 1 in the equation is your commitment. Are you willing to commit to it? Commitment is the discipline you need. If you're unwilling to be committed, it will never happen. Because I know people who start compound accounts and none of my clients, but some other clients, they start and then 6 months from now something happens. Or they want to go on vacation, they want to buy a car, or they want to put a down payment on a house. And where's the first place most people naturally take to do all those things? From their compound accounts. Because it's for their future. They have time, they can catch up, they can invest more later. That's not how compound interest works. The more you do now and not touch it and then use other money later, that's the better route. And so it requires commitment. These 2 things are your commitment. That's things that you have to make as an individual decide on. Then security, growth, and acceleration are not your job. That's the job of the actual financial industry. Security, growth, and acceleration come from somewhere else. And it's called the triple advantage. Inside of investing, there are 3 main players. There's the life insurance world who claim they're the best. Hey, we guarantee security. We never lose. We have the best feature because we are always secure even in down markets. Then the stock guys, no, we hit home runs. We're the best. We're number 1. Don't worry, it will always rebound. It will always rebound. Then there's the leverage guys, the real estate guys, the business guys who say, no, I will manually build my empire. One of them protects money. One of them grows money, one of them accelerates money. But when you only focus on acceleration, your money typically by itself doesn't grow very fast. You're using outside resources to grow, but your actual money doesn't grow very fast. And it's very, very risky. If you only focus on growth, very risky, and leverage is tremendously risky. And if you only focus on protecting your money, it can't grow, and you don't leverage it. But what if you could do all three of them simultaneously? What if you could build one platform that protected, grew, and accelerated simultaneously? What do you think the net result would be? If you could have the guarantees of life insurance, the growth of the stock market, and the acceleration of real estate using OPM, other people's money, and outside lines of credit and stuff like that, but all of them simultaneously, what do you think the result would be? Exponential growth. That is the point here. That is why it's a science. Understand how every single feature matters. And it all goes into this yin and yang theory I have. I have a yin and yang theory of compounding. And why very few people ever actually achieve compounding in their life is because it requires yin and yang. Opposite forces working together produce the best long-term result. Security and aggressive growth. MPI has a very unique feature. A lot of people are on this call wanting to know what MPI is. What sets MPI apart from everything else is because it has a two-lever system. Lever one is security, meaning we have guaranteed protection, guarantees that we will not participate in the down markets of the stock market or in the traditional market, because when the market comes, we pull the security lever. We pull it down and we are no longer participating in the stock market. But guess what? The stock market grows and we want to take advantage of it. So we have a growth lever. And this lever is pulled in the markets. And they are not working simultaneously, but they're working hand in hand. They spot each other. So when we need security, we pull security. When we need growth, we pull growth. But they don't work at the same time. They work to enhance and promote each other. And when those two come together, leverage can happen. When you have a security lever to protect us and a growth lever to grow us, and then you can apply leverage to it, it becomes the most efficient system on the planet. Not the most aggressive system, the most efficient. And when you get efficiency inside a compound interest, you never go backwards. And then this is the result every single time. So how do we actually get it? Why life insurance? A lot of people right here, oh crap, life insurance, I hate it. You know, these various financial gurus said don't buy life insurance. And I actually agree with them for the most part, because most cash value life insurance is pretty subpar. It has its great feature. And what is its great feature? The security lever. Cash value life insurance guarantees you never to lose, but it grows really, really slowly. What you're looking at here is called the risk-return pyramid. And it shows you the levels of risk inside of investments. Up here's futures, here's real estate, here's mutual funds. What is at the very bottom of the risk pyramid? Insurance-based investments. It guarantees you, if you go and put your money inside of an insurance-based investment, they guarantee you not to lose in the majority of the plans. So you now have your security lever. At any moment in time, Corona comes, 2008 comes, .com comes, you pull the lever feature and it doesn't lose any money. It doesn't make you any money either in most scenarios, but it doesn't lose you any money. So you've now just satisfied the security lever. But we need to grow. We also have a call option arm. If anyone knows what a call option is, it is a very aggressive growth, very aggressive investment feature inside of some investments. But inside of our insurance platform, we have the ability to contribute to a call option. And we get a growth. And here's what our growth has been the last 15 years. 3, 11, 3. But what do you notice about 2008? When everyone else lost around 40%, we lost nothing. We pulled the security lever. And then we let it go and we started growing again. Then we pulled it again. Then we grew. Then we pulled again. And then Corona happens, and guess what we did? We pulled it. We had no risk of losing money in the stock market. And when the market grows, we buy a call option on the S&P 500. And we grow at around 11% as our maximum cap. All this combined has achieved around 7% growth. Most stock guys and most investors will be like, 7%, that's average. That's good. You have some security and that's good. Nothing great about that, which is true. It's just good. But now for the thing that sets MPI apart from everything else. It is called leverage. The ability to use outside money. I call it the pure compounder. Someone who makes money on everything you do for the rest of your life. This is chapter 8 in the book. My favorite chapter. I wrote this chapter in one sitting, no edits, and I felt flowing at that moment in time. But it's called the pure compounder. Most people do this. They invest 10% of their income. It makes around 7%. They make $350. Let's just say you go real aggressively and you go buy the best stock and you make, 10%. That's a really, really good investment. Wow, you made $500. It didn't really make you very much more money, being tremendously risky. How much money did you make on your cost of living? The $45,000 you had on the cost of living. Zero. 90% of all the money you made, your compound potential, all of it, made you $0. You gave your compound potential to someone else. But what if there were a method to make money on every dollar you make for the rest of your life? It's called the pure compounder. You still save your 10%. You pay yourself first. You do everything you can to make your money compounding, which is around 10 to 20%. You still have cost of living, making 7%. You made your $350. But what if you could make up to 3% on all your cost of living? That would be an additional $1,350. $1,700 total rather than $350. That is how the leverage works. That is what sets MPI apart from everything, is we have the ability, and I go into this very in depth in my book. Remember, read my book this week. If you read it, you will learn how to become a pure compounder. It typically takes about 3 to 5 years, 3 to 8 years to become a pure compounder. So starting as soon as possible, as fast as possible, will get you there. This is the science. This is the true science of compound interest and what will set your life apart from anything else, and how you accelerate your rate of return from 7% to 8% to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 because you're making an additional 3% on a lot of extra money on the leverage feature inside of MPI. Like I said, my goal is everyone ends up rich. I want to show you just how powerful starting right now is. If someone were to take a newborn for right now, let's just say you have a newborn and he's 1 year old, and you put $5,000 away every year for 8 years, only 8 years, and never another dollar again. Or you wait until their 8th birthday and you're like, congratulations, you're 8 years old, we're going to start a compound account right now. And this thing is going to go, and we're going to put in $5,000 every year forever. For 92 straight years. At the end of 100 years, there would be roughly $540 million in this compound account. In the first one, only invested this amount of money, $5,000 for 8 years, and $40,000 total, but then let it compound. 40 to 80 to 160 to 320 to 640 to 1.2, 2.4, 4.8, 9.6, 20, 40. As you can see, the first 8 years had more value than everything you do from that point on. So when you get there and you start putting in money on their 8th birthday, and you can put in for 100 years, 500 years, 10,000 years, a million years, this account will never catch the first account. Your first 8 years inside of a compound account will have more value for you than everything you do from that point on, because you're one compound cycle ahead. You've got one compound cycle going, and it will never catch it moving forward forever. So all those people who say, well, I want to pay off my house, I want to pay off my debt, I want to pay off my student loans, I want to pay off all the things that come along with what we've been told are opposite of compound interest. Because what you actually want to do is you want to start compounding as aggressively as possible for 3, 5, 7, 8 years. As long as you can. And then even if you stopped, not saying we want to stop, because my book will teach you why not to stop, but even if you stopped, your first account will make more money than everything you did from that point on, and will produce the wealth you want for the rest of your life. Everyone ends up rich on those who understand the science of compound interest. In my book, I have about 85 illustrations, and these illustrations go side by side. Everyone always wants to see the math. Well, Curtis, show me the math. What has actually happened? Unfortunately, because my system is an out then up, takes time to mature and then it starts exploding, takes time to really produce results. And so we're just getting to the point where we're starting to see some really awesome results. But what has MPI done over the last 30 years? When you take the last 30 years of stock market versus the S&P 500 with reinvested dividends, who won? MPI won. Kicked the crap out of the S&P 500. Over $200,000 of more additional cash value, but more importantly, up to 4 times more retirement income. An S&P 500 putting $5,000 to $6,000 away for 30 straight years with reinvested dividends would make around $800,000 of cash value. And at the 4% rule, that would be around $33,000 of retirement income. MPI, accelerating the growth, had about $1 million of cash value at around 12% income, or $125,000, up to 4 times more income off the exact same dollar, and you never had to worry about a market collapse because we had the levers working and we leveraged and we used our living expenses to also increase our rate of return. And all this thing working simultaneously, the science of money produced up to 4 times better results. Should I put in a little money over a long period of time or put in money up front? Here's an example of $150,000 up front or $50,000 for 30 years. Exact same $150,000 invested, right? Inside of a compound account. If you put in more money early, even if you only put in money in the beginning and then you just put in less after that, it would produce over $900,000 of compound interest for you. Exact same amount of money, but you started faster. This doubled to $300,000, to $600,000, to 1.2. And so it's doubling and doubling, where this was slower, 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 slower. Exact same amount of money going in, but one produced $900,000 more because you understood how compound interest actually works. Faster, more, security, and time. Allow those things to go in and it really produces it. Should I pay off my mortgage really fast or not? Everyone wants to pay off their mortgage. It's a great decision, right? But it's not your best decision. The best decision, here's an example of paying off your mortgage in 15 years. It would take that much money. But what if you just paid the minimum on your mortgage and compounded the difference? Same amount of money come out of your pocket, but one produced up to $2 million more money for you. Would you, both of them end up with a house paid off? Both of them end up with the equity in the house, everything you wanted, but one focused on compounding produced up to $2 million more wealth for you because you got money in and let more time compounding rather than waiting till the 16th year to start compounding. Should I get a 529 plan for my kids? Everyone loves to talk about 529 plans. You put a bunch of money in, it ends up making $137,000, and the financial world literally tells you to destroy it. A 529 plan is the worst compound account ever designed in the history of mankind. If you would have done a $250 a month into an MPI account, it would still have the same amount of money into it, give or take. And then using leverage, which I explain in my book, to pay for the college education. That same child, no money out of their pocket, fully college educated, fully debt-free, could end up with up to $3.3 million by their 54th birthday and a retirement income of $360,000. Identical amount of money out of your pocket. One focused on compounding, one focused on saving interest. Saving interest or making interest? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who considers, how do I not pay interest? Or someone who, how do I maximize the compound interest in my life? Infinite banking concept. A lot of you have heard of infinite banking concept. Really cool product that gives you guarantees and a dividend and all that other cool stuff. Here's the difference, focusing on making guaranteed security or making on having the 2-lever system of security and maximized growth while leveraged. $50,000 goes into all of them. You're 35 years old. How much potential does it have by the time you die at 90 years old? $12 million or $800,000? Which one would you want? 16 times more compound interest because you understood how to maximize compound interest in your life. Who benefits from MPI? If you're on this call right now, we have about 100 people on this call right now. Awesome. Thank you for your time. That really means a lot to me. This is who benefits from compound interest. The traditional plan, someone who wants to retire in 15 to 30 years. Or the accelerated plan, do you want to retire in 5 to 10 years? There's an accelerated plan that if you have assets, various assets from real estate equity, you got some rentals, you got some cash, you got some money saved up, some index funds, some mutual funds, whatever, you can be fully retired in 5 to 10 years if you can get money into this thing and then let it roll. Children's plan. I do children's plans all day, every day. Do you want to offer the absolute most influential asset your kids can have? Start them a compound account right now. No matter the age, just start putting in $100 a month to them. And they will inevitably end up with millions and millions of dollars just because they have so much time to allow this thing to compound. Legacy plan. Maybe you're 70, 80, 90 years old and you have money saved up and you want to pass it down to your kids. You want generational wealth. How do you do that? It's called a legacy plan. Business protection plan. I wrote a whole chapter in my book about this. I just added it in because so many people are struggling right now. 6 years ago, I started my business plan, my business compound account. And I have X amount of money in this account now. And guess what happens now? I have no fear of my business. I have liquidity. I have a lot of money available to me because I started 6 years ago to get my money compounding. I call it the business protection plan, and I sleep well at night, and I have no frustration or concern that my business isn't going to weather this storm. Start a business account right now, even if you're scared. If you have any assets, start it, because guess what? This scenario of COVID-19 is going to come back again. And we're going to have to do the same thing, and businesses are going to shut down, and all different things are going to happen again. But because you made the decision today, when it happens 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now, you will be protected. And lastly, if you have a cash value life insurance plan, there's a way to upgrade it. You're not using the full benefit of this cash value. You have the security lever. That's great. You may even have the growth lever, which is great, but you don't have the leverage lever. You need leverage, and if you can leverage it, it will increase the output by up to 4 times. So if any of you follow, and if any of you want to retire in 15 to 30, 5 to 10, you have children, you want a legacy, you have a business, or you have a cash value life insurance plan, we have a product for you. We have things for you. Like I said, you don't have to use my things. I just want to provide you with the absolute most knowledge. And once you start focusing on compounding, you're going to understand why this is important to really understand how you break this down and use it for your benefit. Lastly, almost at the end of every single video I do, always be compounding. That is the thing. If you can start thinking in your life right now, is this decision for my best future self? Is it a compounding decision? Did I invest? Did I commit? Did I protect it? Did I grow it? And did I leverage it? No matter what it is. It could be your marriage, your relationship, your health, your wealth, your business. Start focusing things on putting your investment into it, committing to it, making sure it's secure. Security comes before your growth. If someone asks you, hey, come invest in my business, is it secure? If it's not, don't do it. Decision already made. Don't do it. It needs the foundation. Remember, out before up. Out before up. And if you can do out before up and be patient, eliminate risk, and allow compounding to do all the heavy lifting in your future self. It doesn't take very long, 5 to 8 years. And after 5 to 8 years, compounding, secure compounding can do all the heavy lifting for you. That is my message for you. I want to inspire you right now that you can do this. No matter the position you're in your life, no matter how much money you make, if you can start paying yourself first right now in this moment, making the decision that your future self comes before anyone else, and you can start really focusing on compounding for the next 3 to 8 years and get money compounding, compound interest to do the rest for you. 15, 20, 25, 30 years later from now, you will look back and say, that was the best decision I ever made in my whole life. Even if you didn't put more money into it after 10, 15, 20 years. You started wanting to pay off your debt then, or pay off your house faster, all the various things. Always be compounding. Start today. Start immediately. Do not delay. You make $30,000 a year, save $3,000 of it. You make $1 million a year, save $100,000 of it. Whatever position you are, you've got this. We've got this. We're here to support you. We're here to be on call when you need help, when you have a decision. A lot of you have been reaching out to me. Well, Chris, what do I do now? I got my business now. All the decisions. We will guide you through this. We will walk you through this. I will only tell you things that are in benefit of compounding. If you want to know about other things, how do I pay off my debt faster, and how that's not my thing. I will tell you the actual most powerful force in the universe, always be compounding. And the math never lies. I'm a mathematician, I'm a scientist, and those are the things you want to bank on. That's how you build your best future. So without any further ado, I'm going to start calling the names. A lot of you on here, got 100 people on here. We are going to call 5 people who are going to win $100. 5 people. Before I name the 5 things, I want you guys to have my contact information if you want to reach out to me. Please go read my book in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. But if you want to reach out to me for any question you have, me and my team will always be available to answer. You can get me at curtis@curtisray.com. That's my email address, or info@curtisray.com. My website is compoundinterest.com. That's how much I believe in compound interest. I own compoundinterest.com. I am the compound guy. You want to know about compounding? I'm the guy you ask. And then lastly, if you want to set up a one-on-one consultation, calendly.com/Suncor Financial. Free of charge, no expense to you, just come learn. Come prepared to learn, and if it's something that brings value to your life, great. If it doesn't bring value to your life, you can tell us you're not interested. But he who understands it earns it. Remember, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands, or she who understands it earns it. That's the disconnect. That's the only thing that keeps you from having millions of dollars in your future. Being 100% free from financial struggles and burdens and frustrations. Start today, always be compounding. So I hope to hear from you. I hope you read my book. You don't have to reach out to me until you read my book, because once you read the book, I think you're going to learn a lot of really cool things. But let's call these names. Let's call these names. So the first person, you guys ready? And my team, you better clap really loud when you hear who wins. Okay, the first person. Is there a Gavin Mack? One of the Mack brothers. I know Gavin. Congratulations, Gavin. Are you on here? Yay, okay, Gavin, yay! Gavin. And what are you going to do with this $100? You're going to pay yourself first. You're going to take at least 10% of it and set it aside. So make sure, Gavin Mack, you set aside at least 10%. Okay, the second person is Mike Rafferty. Mike Rafferty, are you on? Yes, you are. Congratulations, Mike. Good job. Good job, Mike. Mike actually, I believe, just recently set up his MPI account. Congratulations, Mike. What are you going to do with this $100? Pay yourself first. Okay, third. Bennett Olson. I don't know Bennett. Bennett Olson, are you on? I see him on. Bennett Olson, congratulations. Olson, Bennett Olson. $100 coming your way. Pay yourself first.
$100.
Okay. Next one. Tyler Reynolds. Tyler Reynolds, congratulations. Are you on? I see Tyler Reynolds on. Congratulations, $100. And lastly, last $100. Oh, I hope everyone wins, but unfortunately everyone can't win. But I am doing this next week, so you should register next week. You should send this out to every single person you know, and I would live 1,000 people on this webinar next week, not 100. So 1,000. Hey, Xander, can we get 1,000 people on here?
1,000.
Zach, if Zach Gardner's on here, I want 1,000 people on next week. Okay, last one is Amy Hunt. I don't know, Amy. Amy Hunt, are you on here? I do see Amy Hunt on here, so congratulations. Awesome, guys. Awesome. Hey, guys, I have a bunch of questions here. I always end right at 1 hour, but then Q&A is after. So if you want to stay on, great. If you don't, I'm going to answer about 10 questions right now. It's going to take about 10 minutes. So if you can stay on, please stay on, because some of these are some really, really good questions, and we will go from there. So thank you again, guys, for coming on. It really means a lot. Please, 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 please find time to read this book. It will completely change your life. All the things I showed you are in depth. There's lots of details in there, and always be compounding. Einstein was not over-exaggerating, overstating when he said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, the most important thing you could ever learn in your whole life. So let's make that a priority right now. So question number 1. It is from Jay. 34 years old and I live in Australia. Can I use MPI? Unfortunately, MPI is only US based right now, but we are working really, really hard to make it international. So please stay in contact. Please watch my videos. The moment we have an international solution, we will be making it available to everyone. But right now it is US based only. Okay. Let's see. How long does it take for an MPI account to mature? It starts maturing at about year 5. So after year 5 on, it really takes off. The first 5 years is build out, then up. So we really want to do that. You need to get in. It is a time thing, not a timing thing. For those who say, should I start right now or wait till it goes up? No, 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 no. Compound interest does not care about timing. It is not timing low and buy high, buy low, sell high, all those things. It is a strict time thing. So you want to start as soon as possible. That is your best outcome every single time. Compound interest, this is from Robert from Ohio, from TikTok. Does compound interest work for a young person? As soon as possible. It works better for you than even an older person. It works for everyone, but the more time you can give it, the better, even if it's $100 a month, $200 a month. Get started right now. It doesn't require any lump sum. It just requires getting money in on the regular. Okay, Devin from Columbia, Missouri. For compound interest, do you put it in the same account specific days or can you switch it up? Typically, we like to get you in a really good habit. So if you want, $100 withdrawn, $500 withdrawn, $1,000 withdrawn on the 1st of the month, 15th of the month, 30th of the month, we set it up so it's automatically withdrawn just like your cell phone bill or your mortgage. So you get in a really good habit. Obviously, you're not required to do that, but it always getting in a habit will always produce your best returns. I don't do monthlies. I just do lump sums once a year. If you can put in faster, it's better per year. So I try to put in as soon as possible, but we can build you a specific account for your lifestyle and your income and your savings. And so that will work for you. Will from Madison, Wisconsin. Having zero investment with COVID-19 market, how do I begin? It's a pay yourself first. So if you're making money, start saving money. If you don't make any money right now, we can't start. You gotta be able to pay yourself first. That is the first rule of wealth, is pay yourself first. So start right now. As soon as you have a job, if you have a job or savings, you can start. If you have index funds or mutual funds, you can cash out. Let's get started. Various things you can get started with, not only income, but if you don't have a job and you have no savings and you don't make any money, the moment you have it, let's start your account. But right now, let's start educating you. Let's even get it kind of the framework set up so you can start then. David from Florida. How can you invest secure in this time? You won't make any money in the MPI account right now because we have the security lever pulled. You won't lose any money either. But it's good to get the foundation started. That first 5 to 7 years, whether you're making money or not making money, you have to give your compound account that first 5 to 7 years to build the base. Whether you're making money or not, it's not the point. That's not the most influential thing on your wealth. It's a time thing, not a timing thing. So if you have money, get started right now, even if we just have the security lever pulled. How do I start for my kids? Reach out to us. We can start for your kids pretty easily. Fill out an account, get it started. We'll get rolling on that. That was Kimmy from Iowa. If you are a kid, if you're under 18, then you'll need your parents' help. You can't sign a contract unless you're 18, so it does require a parent to help. Janie from Arizona, how to start, how much is required? Nothing is required besides what you can do. So yeah, there is a minimal, typically $100 to $200 a month is the minimums where it really can have some effect on your future, but there's no lump sum requirements. You want to start as soon as possible, as much as possible. You got $50,000 saved up, let's get it rolling. You can save $500 a month, let's get it rolling. Okay, Stanley out of Arizona also, if funds are tight due to house being built and a new baby, how do I approach MPI investing? Pay yourself first. If you have any, just do it first and everything else will just work out. It always does. It's surprising how it works. That if you make 100 grand, 75, 50, 30, if you can start saving $100 a month, you won't miss it. It's like you never had it. Obviously, I don't want you living in poverty, but pay yourself first, starting right now, and get money compounding, even if it's $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. Let's see. John from Pennsylvania, best way to start investing money during this outbreak. Start your foundation. Out then up. So get an MPI compound account or any secure compound account. Unfortunately, as I showed you today, secure compound accounts there aren't very many out there. And I believe MPI is the most aggressive one that maintains security, will produce your best results. So even in the outbreak, if you have any liquidity, if you have any disposable income or you're still making income, let's get started even if it's a couple $100 a month. How to get started? You fill out an application. We start the whole process. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get started an MPI account. So you want to start as soon as possible. There's no obligation or commitment to it. You do take a health exam because it is a life insurance policy, but you don't have to pay anything. So if you think this is something you want to do, get started immediately because you're not obligated for 4 to 6 weeks to actually make your first payment. So get started and then we can get all the paperwork and all that stuff taken care of. Abraham, how long will it take for the stock market to recover? That is the point of this whole thing. We don't know. But what we do know is we can build something in security that's going to get you, a growth lever when it does rebound. So I don't know. I believe it's going to be 3 to 6 months. Once we get back to work, it's all going to go back to normal. And they say back to work fully is the next 2 to 3 months. So we should be good there, but we never know. And then what is compounding? I love that. Hopefully I answered that already. But compounding is money making money for you forever with no effort on your part. You give money to compound account, it does all the work for you. So that's why you want to start a business? No, start a compound account before you start a business. Start them together, obviously, because you need to make money. But a compound account will become your business. It's as equal to your business as possible. And last question is Jeff from Mesa. Who is the GOAT of money? GOAT stands for greatest of all time. I'm the GOAT of compound interest, I think. GOAT of money, I don't know. But the GOAT of compounding, I'm the only person in the world who claims that they are the scientist of compound interest. I'm the only one who wrote a book called The Science of Compound Interest, and I broke it down to the very thing. So we'll just say I'm the GOAT of compounding. No, I don't want to brag about that. I'm a mathematician, and I'm an educator. I really, really, really care that you understand what we're doing. I have friends and family call me up, Curtis, just set me up an account, just set me up. And I go, that's not how this works. I need you to understand how this works. I wrote a whole book about it, or you can listen to all my videos, because the moment you understand how this works, you know the decision to make. You don't even have to ask me anymore. You teach a man to fish and he's fed for a lifetime. Because there will be hard things that come up. There will be another corona epidemic. There will be a time you lose your job. There will be a time you want to put a huge down payment on your house to have a lower mortgage. There's going to be a time to do all these decisions. But because you understood what compounding is, you're going to make the compounding decision. The secure compounding and leverage decision. And by doing that, you will have unlimited wealth in your lifetime. You will have unlimited wealth. You can do this. Even if you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, no matter how much money you make right now, if you can believe in compounding and make it a priority in your life right now, you will look back 15, 20, 30 years from now and say, that was the best decision I ever made in my whole life. And how do I know that? Because I did it myself. I only did it 6 years ago. And the last 6 years, I've made more money in my life. I felt more security, more confidence. I sleep well at night. And in this moment of craziness, guess who's not panicked at all? Me. Because I built my foundation. My security is there. So thank you guys again. Always be compounding. Reach out to me, curtis@curtisray.com. Go to compoundinterest.com. I have a whole team of people that are willing to answer any question you have. No sales, no obligation. We're not trying to force anything on you. We're trying to educate you. And if you can, he who understands it, she who understands it, will earn this thing that very few people ever accomplished in their life. And that is compound interest, the 8th wonder of the world. So have a great day. Be safe. Please stay healthy. Next Thursday, same time, same place. Tell the world. I want everyone to hear about this. So thank you again, and I will talk to you guys soon.